Hello and welcome to ARTHISTORY Plus podcast powered by La Ananta Absinthe, the liquid of the legends. We have with us Veena Chandran. Now, I must admit that I don't know too much about ceramics. She's going to teach all of us, you, me.
Teach, no? Talk about it, maybe.
She's going to be our consultant. If anyone chooses to take it up as a career, or she's actually been through the bhatti, the baking process of becoming an artist also. So there are multiple questions we are going to discuss about. I don't know too much about ceramics because, let me say it at the outset, I don't connect with ceramics as an art form. Veena is part of this exhibition called Follow the White Rabbit, curated by me at the Frida Art House in the Ritz-Carlton, Pune. I like your works a lot.
Thank you.
They don't make cerebral sense to me. I don't connect with them in the way I connect with a painting or a sculpture or an installation or a drawing or an etching.
Okay.
It challenges me. The way you speak about your practice and the works which are in this exhibition do connect with me based on how well you speak about them and how based on our conversations. But the larger genre of ceramics is something that I feel I'm, for a lack of a better word, kacha.
Okay.
So I want to like honestly engage with you to kind of like, in a way, you can say guide me through, make me fall in love with ceramics. Please make me fall in love with it. I don't get it. I've done a podcast with a poet saying I don't get poetry.
Yeah.
But I get it actually. It's not nothing. It's pretty dense. It's something. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
So can you make me, from just introducing me, to make me fall in love with it in 30 minutes?
Okay, so my first question to you is, what do you consider art? What is art?
Art is, I would say, in a very general way, it is a very clear or an unclear articulated idea using a medium that where a human being initiates an idea to broadcast an idea outside, which kind of has a larger implication in the world, either politically, socially, culturally.
So with everything that you've said,
which involves an element of skill.
Yes.
I am that old school guy who feels like there should be a little skill.
Correct.
That's my...
Correct. So in the description that you gave of art, everything that you mentioned, and then you said medium, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, when you're considering ceramics as an art form or painting or whatever, why can't that medium be clay? Like for that...
I have a hang up.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. So that's my thing. You explain your...
So it's creating art in whatever medium that you use. It's creation of art. It's an expression of one's feelings. It's an expression of what they're going through. It's an expression of maybe wanting to just vent out, and the only way the artist can vent out is through their work. And I choose clay as my medium.
Yes.
For whatever reason through life, clay kind of knocked on my door. I did not go knocking on clay's door.
Nice.
It came, it approached me. I absolutely fell in love with it, and it became my way to express me. Yes. And through whatever that I'm doing, it is an expression of what I am. So, I do sculptural work, and then I also do mugs and plates and basic tableware. But I consider all of that to be art form, because even if I'm making a simple mug, it is what I'm feeling at that time that I'm putting into the clay, that I'm molding that piece of clay, of basic mud, into something that I can use. Number one, I enjoy using it because it looks nice, it appeals to my artistic sense, and I'm creating, which is what me as a human being intrinsically I need to do.
Bang on. How did you've been inspired by somebody?
So
also you were with me in college.
Yes.
But many years
ago.
Let's not say when, but it was millennium, waiting for the night Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Long time ago in the millennium. And we basically we both made a switch. We were in science.
Yeah.
We were in science.
Yeah.
And then both of us were the only two people from who we knew were like, I'm doing art, and she's like, I'm doing art, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And people still see us that way, and they're like, oh, you guys took the bus and you all left, you know, and you're like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
So do you your
So-
journey from doing science?
So I did science, and then I did architecture, and then I started working as an architect. And for me, it felt very limiting. I could not express what I wanted to do through architecture. And also through the kind of architecture that I was exposed to in Pune, unfortunately, wasn't just what was appealing to me. So I went on this quest where I was just trying to find myself and doing all kinds of things in the middle. And then I happened to go to Pondicherry for a pottery workshop.
Happened to go to Pondicherry for a pottery workshop.
So I dabbled with like a week-long pottery thing in Pune, and it felt like, oh, okay, this is fine.
In a crafty way.
I wouldn't call it in a crafty way. No, I wouldn't call it a crafty way.
Yeah.
It was again a way for me to express, right?
Because you know
It
why I'm
was
saying that is because there are so many workshops
correct.
that 99% of people do it for the craft element,
Correct.
and then they let it go as a Sunday hobby.
Yeah.
You went on with it. It's your career.
So
know.
I went on much later. So I did this pottery thing. I liked it, but it never felt like I'm going to be a potter. This is what I want to do, sort of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And then in the middle of doing all these odd and multiple various part-time jobs and things like that, I came across this place in Pondicherry called the Golden Bridge Pottery, which trains and apprentices people and their long-term training programs. So I was like, okay, I was also at that rebellious age where you want to move away from home, go to a small city, everything is going to be cheap there.
Break some pots.
Not break some pots. I was like, beer will be cheap in Pondicherry. We'll go. Let's see how this is.
Yeah.
And I went and I started again, not knowing that this is something that I want to do. Like
Sure.
there was absolutely no calling of that. A week into it was when I was like,
Okay.
man,
I'm in love.
absolutely in love with every version of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so Golden Bridge Pottery is a production unit.
Yeah.
And they also train people along the way. So you are exposed to all spectrums of pottery, from amazingly crafted tableware right up to 27 feet ceramic sculptures built.
How do you bake that?
They're made in parts, they are assembled, we are
stuff.
on scaffolding, working with clay. I mean, so that's the kind of exposure, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think of ceramics as being a pot,
Yeah.
and then you see
No, my definition of ceramics is multivariate. I've seen
Yeah.
abstract pieces and I've
Yeah.
seen non-utilitarian pieces, but it's pretty dense. The process is so tiring.
it is,
And
and it's fantastic.
It's only a hot process.
It's a
You're
brilliant
not-
process.
I find it strange that you're not allowed to be in an AC room and work comfortably. You have to go. It's
Disclaimer, I have an AC in my studio here in Kalyani Nagar, which the past 2 years, summertime, it is coming on.
but then when you go to the kiln and then you fire stuff, it's
Yes, but again, that's the beauty of it. That's what completely, it's an addiction. It really is an addiction, especially wood firing. So I'm trained as a wood firer. Pondicherry has been all wood firings.
so you don't
A
put
lot.
the cylinder and do that.
No, that's in Pune that I do the cylinder, the gas firing. But all the firings in Pondicherry are all wood fired. A lot of them are also fired in a specific kind of a kiln, which is called the Anagama kiln. It's a Japanese style kiln where the firings go on for. We've tried to cross the 100-hour mark of a continuous
Firing. Just because you're cool.
Just because we can do it, just because of the kind of effects that you get on a pot is not achievable through any other method. You bring out the beauty in clay. You're almost an alchemist because you have chemistry that's involved. You're understanding how the molecules are working, how quartz inversion happens, at what temperature carbon trapping happens. Like these are the things, there's chemistry that's involved.
Inferiority complex alert.
There's physics that's involved with understanding how your kiln is working, how your flame is moving, how fast your temperature is rising.
Yeah.
There's physical labor that's involved, which is amazing. There's a community, because you can't do these firings as a single person. You build up a team.
The way you speak about it, I feel like I also want to be a part of it.
I think you should.
That's why I started liking ceramic, because of you. I mean, what I said in the start is that I don't get it. I don't get it as in a very in a very contemporary art kind of, I have to be in that folder and then talk about those files. But generally speaking, I like it. I love it. I like your work. I like everything. But I'm not able to fall in love with it. When I stand in front of textile or I stand in front of painting, ceramics just is being done by too many hobby artists to be.
Agree. The pandemic is also responsible for a lot more
practice.
hobby
thing. That's my.
Yeah, but
maybe I'm
also
completely wrong.
I mean, there is a difference between. So we all have in whatever medium, you have the amateur painters and then you have painters who are doing this as a profession, who know what they're doing. Basically, it's not like matka happened. Two colors mixed really well.
Matka happened.
I know, I said it and then I realized the irony of it.
Why do they say matka happened,
Matka is the...
pot.
No, matka happened is the gambling.
Matka is gambling.
Gambling.
Okay,
it's that
I thought,
matka.
While making a pot, you're like,
no,
gambling. Matka ho gaya.
Matka laga is the gambling concept of...
Bad joke. Anyways, can you start this process of making me understand what is it that... Can you, for example, preempt where you're going to arrive at in the entire ceramic process? That's a question I asked you about a few years back also. It's like, how do you... There's no control. I don't see control. And I freak out.
There is a lot of control.
There's a lot of controls to make sure it doesn't go out of control. That freaks me out.
Yeah, there is a certain level of uncertainty, of course. When you open a kin, you're still wondering...
Certain?
Yeah, certain. But there is a lot of ways in which we are controlling, right? Like, I mean... You're monitoring every step, and therefore you have to have the know-how to understand the medium and to work with it. It is not just... I mean, in an electric kin, yes, it's simple. You put a switch on. I mean, I'm not taking away from people who do brilliant work in electric kins. There's still different ways you can work with that to kind of get surface textures and results that you want. But like me, just because I am a wood firer and that's intrinsically who I am... There are ways in which you are still controlling, but you're also allowing the uncontrollable flame to work in favor of your sculptural piece. So,
can you give me an example?
So the way you load inside a wood-fired kin, right? You're placing pieces one over the other, and you're also creating shadows of one piece on the other, which means your flame is going to particularly move in that way, where you get these little comet kind of fire marks on your pot. And those are all purposefully created so that you get them.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I thought it's just...
No, it's loaded so that...
It's a big fluke.
No. That's the thing. It's not. All those flame marks that you get, they've been... The flame marks that you get on your pot, they have been purposefully placed in a kin in a particular way to get them. You place pieces under parts where you're actually putting wood into the kin, right? And your wood is falling on top of your pieces. There are certain sections, so you're putting heavier pieces which don't actually break with the wood falling on it. But what happens over there is ash accumulates and you get a thing which is called as crud, which is almost like really rough, pumice, stony, textured feel on your pot. And you're purposefully doing it.
Yeah.
You want this pot to have a crud at this level, so you're doing that. Agreed, there is a certain level of uncertainty because things can happen, things change. But you are working to try and contain that uncertainty to make it work in your favor.
Have you like really messed up in your career? It's like somehow some pots, like an entire series, like I'm sure there are so many errors.
There are a lot of errors, but it's not so many.
You must be having a lot of bad days. I mean, assuming.
Not so much. Also, like towards the end, like once a pot goes through the whole glazing, firing, yes, there are a lot of pieces that go crap and then you just discard it. But there's also this, and I think this has also come from the way we were taught, right? So again, I started my career as a potter throwing pieces, basics tableware, right?
Okay,
And what we would do is in the day, we would prepare the clay, which is called wedging your clay. We would make 20 mugs in a day. In the evening, either the person who's training us would come and see it or not come and see it. We would break all our pieces, recycle the clay, start afresh the next day. So
nice.
That feeling of holding on to something, or like it's my creation, I can't let go,
Yeah.
doesn't exist. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You start over, new page,
It's like a
fresh
life lesson,
clay.
man.
It teaches you endless patience, endless letting go.
Endless patience, endless letting go.
Letting go. You just you can't do anything about
Can't hold
it.
on to things.
You can't. And why hold on to it? You have the capabilities and the skill sets to make something better. If this seems not so great, the best thing to do would be to catch it before it actually goes through the firing process, recycle the clay, make something new out of it. Even post that, if something goes wrong, it goes wrong. You try and wanna, of course, keep that to
Yeah.
the minimum, but
Yeah.
it just does.
Wow.
There haven't been entire series or entire things that go wrong. I mean, there have been times like in the kin, one shelf, you build up shelves in a kin, so you build it up inside and place your pots. Like a whole shelf stack has fallen on another one.
Yeah.
Things fall, things happen like that. You still try and find what's best out of it and move ahead. But it's not like people think like, whole kin loads go wrong. Sometimes it does. It does happen. But it's not like that common. It's not like it's not in our control.
Yeah. You needed your science background to engage in pottery, or do you feel like a arts or a commerce student can also get it if they start? Do you think you like have an advantage because of science?
I think I had an advantage. Or science plus architecture. So
Science plus art.
like my training to be an architect and the few years that I did do architecture is my basis, and I think that's what gives me my strength in my design aspects, my aesthetic sense, how to build. I mean, I'm still using principles that they taught us of how to build buildings. I'm just scaling that down drastically, but it's definitely like the chemistry that's involved, the physics that's involved. It is an added advantage. Not saying that somebody who's not done this at college can't do this, but I think I just had it a little easier maybe because I thought in that sense. I thought from a science point of view.
Yeah.
And also one strong thing was architecture taught me to visualize three-dimensionally, which helps me a lot in clay. So I do not sketch anything, even tiny ideas that I have. I build small miniatures, which we call maquettes, and then I scale it up and make them bigger. But I do not sketch at all. I don't draw anything. I work with clay and then I reproduce that to maybe bigger, or I just organically start and work.
That's amazing. Is there like since you say architecture, I just thought, is there like a hierarchy within your ceramic artist community? It's like ये brick बनाता है.
Oh
Then
no.
it's like ये table और cups and saucers बनाता है. फिर ये stoneware और ceramics बनाता है. मैं fine art, I do ceramics, and my works are called artworks. Everything else is utility. I'm sure there is.
So there is
If someone comes
there
up to
is
you-
a thing between potter and ceramic artist.
Yeah.
That's where nomenclature wise there is that difference,
हो
right?
जाए, one tutorial, explain this.
I do not agree with it. I think anybody that works with clay is a ceramic artist.
Anyone that works with clay is
Clay
a ceramic
is a ceramic
No problem.
artist, right?
Yeah.
So I do not agree to this almost classism between potter and ceramic artist situation.
Yeah.
Right? You need to understand art to be able to create anything out of clay.
Creation itself is
Exactly.
such
So
a beautiful.
and I mean, especially if you look at our traditional potters, right? I mean, the kind of work that they do where they're beating clay and making these beautiful round matkas, which to everybody else, they think it's thrown on the wheel. It's not even thrown on the wheel. It's like beaten to get this perfect spherical shape.
Yeah.
The huge Iyengar terracotta horses that they build in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, how do you not call that art?
Yeah.
How there is
on.
no way you can call them potter. Like, I mean, they are ceramic artists. So I don't agree with that. Not to say that it doesn't exist. All classism exists everywhere. Exists here also.
Yeah. And you've in your journey as a potter, you've had any mentors that you kind of feel that, and also I want to put this in. Can you expose us to some maybe artists that you say you should look at this person's artwork? You know, because usually people are like, have you seen this Japanese? What's it called when you glue broken ceramics with
Kintsugi.
gold kintsugi. So I mean, this is in vogue now, and
Yeah.
people are like, I want to do kintsugi workshops, and I
Yeah.
have friends who are saying, I read Ikigai, and now I want to do kintsugi, and I
Yeah.
want to eat Japanese food. It's all amazing. I like Japanese food, and I like everything, but this kind of soft branding being done in the Indian ceramic space in any way? Like, I've not heard anyone say I want to do, like Cholamandalam ka bronze casting techniques or something. People don't discuss it in that. What makes it such
So
an allure?
that's where our tradition lacks, right? We do not give importance to our local traditional artisans. I mean,
Because of the hierarchy.
because of the hierarchy again. Like in Japan, a ceramic who makes even, like a tea bowl is given that master level of this
Yeah.
is a Japanese master tea bowl maker.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, as against looking within ourselves and finding people that we can emulate and use our own traditions, we are going to other places, finding other philosophies that we want to follow. And I mean,
Yeah.
not taking away from their philosophy, which is very strong, but we also have a philosophy which is very strong. We just do not give it its due importance.
We don't respect it.
We do not.
And that's sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't find this. Do you do any classes or something where
I teach a lot.
where you teach people the history of ceramic?
I don't teach people the history of ceramic. So the way I teach,
whose responsibility is it for the ideas to reach the masses? Because you're not going, if I mean, not you, but like
Yeah.
if the practitioners in the field don't, if the practitioners of the field don't articulate these ideas and speak about them and push these ideas out, it never will take. It'll
so
never manifest as.
the way we conduct our class situation is not a class, right? The medium that you're working is clay.
Yeah.
There is a technique which is taught, right? But beyond that, it's very open-ended in that sense.
Yeah.
There's always open dialogue. I do not like pushing ideas down people. So if somebody asks me a question, I can respond back. I can tell them about the history. But if somebody is not interested, I don't think, I just feel it's a waste of time. And for most people who come to us, they come with wanting to know this knowledge. So eventually, while we are talking, while we are conversing, while working with clay, conversations come about like this, that we do open it up to these kind of conversations. But it's not a structured where there is theory of pottery, then there is this, then
Sure.
there is that. We also do not follow, like you are making a mug today, there's no you are making. You are
Sure.
working with clay.
Sure.
What comes out of it comes out of it.
If I give you 10 minutes, I'm not going to say anything. Tell me the beauty that you experience in spread it. The beauty in making a piece. Like, tell me if, like, I don't know how to explain this. How I feel like making you the brief is very simple. Make me fall in love with ceramics, but I want you to articulate in as much detail as possible the smell, the sounds, why you love what you do, your experiential moments, and go for it. 20 minutes. I won't say anything. I just want to hear.
So firstly, it's very difficult to do that because it's such a tactile medium, and I'm going to try, but I'm giving a disclaimer before I try that
Sure.
it is a tactile medium, and unless you actually try it and do it, it's hard to put it in words because it seems a little hollow
You're
in
a
just
pakka
words.
ceramic. Huh? You know that once I'm going to answer it, that it might break there also.
So again, it will break at any stage.
Go for it.
And it's fine.
Just put it in the fire. Put the words in the kiln, and let's see what you say. Make me
Okay,
try to
so-
explain, and to everybody who's watching, it'll be nice to, because people have these imaginations that you're sitting and you're drawing and you're carving some things on
Yeah.
on the plate or on the pot, and then I'm going to fire it. Just can you articulate the beauty of it, of your everyday life as a ceramic artist?
Okay, so the way I work is I try and find inspiration from very basic things which are around me, and most of the time it's just my emotional state which manifests itself into a clay piece, right? So I'll have a lump of wedged clay, I'll have an idea that I'll want to build on, like a form that I'm thinking of that I want to try, and I will start building it in that process. Again, it's very organic, so things change in the middle. What I'm visualizing can change, cannot change. It might follow exactly the line that I'm working. While it's being made, I might want to change it around. And then the whole building process happens. Again, the building process is a mixture of various techniques, starting from on the wheel to hand building, which is pinch, coil, slab. And
can you tell me, we're on the wheel. What are you worried about?
When you're on the wheel?
Yeah, tell me what you're worried about while you're working. I wanted to slow down the process of
So
making
while
a
you're
piece.
working, once you reach a stage where you know the technique, you are not even thinking. It is absolutely meditative. It's as simple as going cycling or swimming. Your muscle knows what to do. So once you learn how to throw on the wheel, your muscle knows what to do. You're thinking about something else, or your mind is absolutely blank. It's this, I mean, I'm not a yoga practitioner and meditation and all of that, but I do feel that's my meditative space, because I just like go into this limbo mode where the clay is on the wheel. I know what I'm trying to make. A lot of the times it will flop, which is also fine, but while I'm working, I'm not thinking. It's as good as cycling. Nobody thinks when they're cycling, right?
Yeah.
You move your one leg and then the pedal moves and you know the wheels are going to move and you move ahead.
And you trust your equipment.
Yes. You trust your equipment and you trust your instinct. You get a feel of what's happening and you move along with it. So there's not much thinking that happening, especially while on the wheel.
You had once told me I become one with the piece.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know what you were saying. I just don't understand this.
So that's the thing. Like, your brain just doesn't work at the creation that you're doing on the wheel.
Yeah.
This is different from when I'm hand building.
Yeah.
But on the wheel, your brain is literally almost like on a shut off mode, or you're overstressing about things that you shouldn't be overstressing about, right? But you're not really worrying about what you're throwing. So the processes, you're centering, you're coning it up, you're opening your clay. It just happens as a smooth progression of these are the processes, and you trust your instinct, you trust your wheel, and you just build, and it happens. And then you become one with that, because there is no line segregating you from what you're building at that point.
And you trust yourself.
Yeah, you trust yourself. And
I'm saying you as Veena Chandran you have no insecurities or worries that I'm going to...
I do not have, because I know at the end of the day, if
amazing.
I don't like it, I will just smash it. It doesn't...
Why don't you give it to the rifle range, like, rifle association?
Because I prefer smashing it.
I always wondered, why don't you give the flopped pieces to the rifle association to put, and I'd love giving it to people who want to, like, the Greeks break plates, and Japanese have wine glasses they smash, and it's a trauma release exercise.
But imagine you just stand in your own studio, you frustrated with something, you just take a pot and smash it. Done, over.
Is it therapeutic for you, or like, oh my?
Extremely.
But you've invested so much time in a piece.
I do not I do not have that emotional or materialistic connect to something that I've made. Once I've made it, it's done.
The ease with which a person who's drawing on a piece of paper to tear up the drawing, crumple it and throw it. I envy that, because people who are using extensive materials like oil paintings and ceramics, I find it tough to believe that you can actually put like 10,000 worth of material and maybe a week's time and then just smash it and be, as a cathartic process, say, I'm like, oh my God, time lost. I'm okay now.
So the only thing that I would worry about is material loss, which is why I say, like, try and catch it before it goes through the firing. Then you just get all your material back and you recycle.
You've reached a point where you know the medium pretty well.
Yes.
Do you want to, and I'm sure there's lots to learn, but is there any in your ceramic career, is it something that you want to achieve?
Become better at my skill. I know
you can't define what's better. You can't
No,
define.
you
It's
can't.
not a,
You can't. No, you can't define what's
unknown known,
better.
or
It is. Yeah. It is.
like so
It
subjective,
is-
right? If you
it is
want to become
subjective,
better,
yes.
how do you price a piece also? That's something I want to say. How do you price a
How
work
do you
if you,
price a piece?
because you don't know the value of, like, you can't articulate what is better and what is worse in such a subjective world where everybody is firing. Like in a painting, for example, you're accustomed to what reality looks like, what light and shade looks like. So you can see the quality of painting is mimicking reality and say, okay, this painting is really three-dimensional or lifelike. Or in an abstract piece, the artist would have a body of work. An artist has a history. With the ceramic artist, because the control, what you call control and what I refer to as uncontrolled control, is so random and subjective. Now again, you'll say it's controlled.
It's not random and subjective. It really is not.
I'm
And
sorry,
I want
I
to
don't
break
take
that
an-
stigma. Like, it is a stigma that people have,
Again,
and I want to break it. Let's
because-
smash some more stigmas along the way.
Okay, chalo, let's go for it. Smash all the stigmas.
I know what I'm doing. It's as simple as that. I mean, I don't want to sound like.
No, so
But I know what
let's-
I'm doing.
Let's say you're a ceramic artist. Don't say I
Yeah.
know. Say ceramic artists. Speak for all ceramic artists. Now break all the stigmas. Go
We
for it.
know what we're doing. We know our shit. As simple as that, right? We know when it goes into the kin what we are expecting. Yes, agreed, there is a level of uncertainty. But I mean, that's in case of like all
Yeah,
paintings,
in
right?
terms
Like
of-
old paintings right now, which appear to be yellow, and you realize it couldn't be yellow because yellow paint didn't exist then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So uncertainties at all stages happen, like the kind of blues change over time.
Yeah.
I mean, everything changes. So it's all, there is uncontrollable things which happen irrespective of the
Yeah.
medium. But we know our shit. We know when we are on the wheel, we know what we are trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Yes, it might not get there. We just restart, rework, and try and get there, right? We know in the firing process what we are trying to achieve, and we are working with natural forces to make sure that that is
Yeah.
achievable. We work with chemicals, we work with glazes, we work with chemistry, we make our own glazes, knowing that that's what we want.
Sure.
We understand the chemistry that's involved in glaze making to get our desired colors, textures, surface decoration, all of that. We know that it's not uncontrolled. We know that there is uncontrollable aspects within it which we are working and hoping that it works in our favor.
Yeah. In your journey as a ceramic artist, have you seen a transition in technology, like an update in
Oh
technology?
yeah, for
Can
sure.
you tell
Like
me what your life was 20 years back when you were younger, and now that you are older than you were before?
so, I mean,
Can I ask how old you are?
no. As old as you are, Vaibhav, how old are
Yeah,
you?
that's true. I'm 40, yeah.
I just crossed the 40
83?
mark. Yeah.
Must.
So yeah.
How's your intestine and gut health and all that?
So far so good.
Age.
Prebiotics, probiotics started.
Anyways, yeah, I feel like my people refer to my stomach as a pot now. They're
See
matka.
there, matkas are following you.
Anyways, I want to ask you a technology software update. An update in technology. Has the technology of making the works gone up, like in terms of?
So also accessibility of materials within India has
Oh yeah.
increased like drastically, right? So when I started my career, there were that many clay vendors. There were no ready-made glazes available at all.
Yeah.
We had like people who make kins was that limited. Everything was limited in that sense, which I think
This is what
was
year?
good.
What year?
I started so I went to Pottery in 2009. I set up my studio here in 2010.
And you're saying that was good?
That was good because
Why?
that taught me all
Ah.
to give me this knowledge base. Like, I make all my glazes by myself. I know the chemistry that's involved behind glaze making. I understand that. And the only reason I did that was because I was pushed into, I did not have an option. Whereas now you have an option. You can open a catalog. You can see, ooh, nice blue. I want that glaze. You buy a kilo of that glaze. You don't know what material is going into it. You do
Yeah.
not understand the science behind it. Right?
Yeah.
So accessibility is good and bad. The amount of tools which are in the industry, that's one thing. Like all my students, and I tell them, you do not need any tools. Like for the first couple of years, all your tools you will need, you will find in your kitchen.
Kitchen.
In your kitchen. Ransack your kitchen. Knife, spoon,
Huh.
fork, balon. You're done.
Yeah.
You can make things. You do not need all these high-flying
But
tools.
you can't bake anything in your house.
You can't. That is a restriction. You cannot, because clay does require much higher temperatures to vitrify.
What are the different stages of heat and I think vitrification.
So vitrification is the highest level, which is
What's
what
that?
we are achieving in the clays, stoneware clay and
A
porcelain.
vitrified tile is the most tempered. It's like tempering iron.
Yeah.
It's the highest, but it also makes it brittle.
It doesn't make it brittle. It makes it stronger.
So what's under vitrification? When the temperature is lesser, it's called
So the firing.
ceramic. Then under ceramic is
No. Any clay which you fire, any clay becomes a ceramic piece.
becomes a ceramic piece.
Right? So within ceramics, you have different kinds of clay. So there's terracotta, earthenware, porcelain, stoneware. What most people right now use is stoneware clay. And then porcelain is the most vitrified that you can get, which because of the qualities of it, you can make it really thin, which makes it brittle. So in that way, it can get brittle, but it's the strongest clay and it's the highest fired clay. And then you have stoneware, which is most of all the studio potters that they use is stoneware clay, which is in the range of 1200 to 1300 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
And then our matkas, which is terracotta earthenware, which is along the range of 900, maximum maybe 1000
Degrees.
Celsius.
1000 degrees Celsius.
Degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And wow, I didn't know that. I thought that it's like a stable. How do you reach 1000 degrees Celsius in a wood with using wood?
In the Anagama fired kilns, we go up above 1300 degrees Celsius
How?
by putting in wood. Your kilns are designed to contain heat. They are designed to
Wow, I didn't
help
know- I
in
didn't know
rise
that.
in temperature. So kiln design is another thing which you
And
need to
you're
know.
not. I just felt like cracking a bad joke. You're
Go
not
for
baking
it.
pizza on the side.
But you can. A lot of people do, and there's no harm in doing that.
Pav.
Like,
I stay in Goa, so like people are making pav. I can see people.
no, you can, because there's radiant heat. So a lot of people have like small ovens,
Small ovens which have
which are using the radiant heat from that
the temperature
to
must be high.
we roast potatoes, marshmallow, all those kinds of things. Yeah.
I'm asking every artist this now in all the Artistry Plus podcasts in a very mature way. What is your relationship with money as an artist?
Love hate. So unfortunately right now ceramics is still not considered art. It falls under
I started the podcast
exactly. So it falls
and I have
under
that same issue, by the way. So I am victim to this. thought,
and it
so.
falls under that craft background where people are just not ready to pay for what they consider craft.
But there's
it
also an
is-
influx of Chinese utility, new materials.
new
so
materials
it-
and also very well crafted, I would
sure,
say.
But finish your
And
train of thought that you were saying that it's not taken as art.
it's not taken as art, and therefore it is not valued as much, and therefore as an art piece its valuation is not.
In fact, I'll say
What-
its valuation is set by the utility of it being a utilitarian object.
Yeah, but even if you're building a sculptural piece, right, there is no utility to it except for it being an art piece and it providing joy and happiness to you by just viewing it.
Yes.
That's its utility.
Yes.
Even that is not valued as it should be, just because the medium is unfortunately termed as clay and it's just considered in that craft bracket.
Why is this? That's what I'm asking you. The history of art would
Again,
And
traditionally in India, right, classism, the lowest rung kumbhars, we still bargain for 5 rupee diyas in the market, right?
that's sick. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
it's the
Kulhad,
skill,
yeah.
the kind of quality and skill that goes into making that, and it's 5 rupees and we are bargaining for it.
Yeah.
But we will go to Starbucks and have a
Yeah.
who knows what worth coffee. It is a traditional imbalance which is there, which is changing, right?
No, it's
I
very
mean,
slowly.
it's
I've
slow.
gone to Andhra Pradesh to the Kondapalli toy factory. it used to be a village.
Yeah.
Now there's just 4 houses that make the firing of Kondapalli toys,
Yeah.
you know, those balancing dolls.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like blown away by the amount of skill required to fire
Exactly.
that, to make it, to paint it, to process it, to package it
Yeah.
and send it, and the industry is finished
Yeah.
because of the influx of new toys. I have 2 in my house, one
Yeah.
over the microwave. So every time I open the microwave and shut it, I look at it as, I don't look at it as a toy, or I look at it as a
Yeah.
work of art.
Exactly.
In me and my wife in the house, we look at it as,
Yeah.
we enjoy it over the microwave because we want to activate it
Yeah.
in that much. Every time we wanted to do that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe, and also I also want to ask you this: when, let's say, in Mohenjo-daro, in the Harappan civilization, there's a discovery by the Archaeological Survey of India, and they say that we found a clay pot.
Yeah.
Do you, as a ceramic artist, say that's a work of art, or do you say
For
that's
sure.
no? Do you say they've discovered a work of art, or do you say they've discovered a historical object? And maybe is that why?
It is a combination of two. I mean,
Yeah.
evolution is mapped through ceramics, right? Like a lot.
Go ahead.
No,
Whoa,
let's
what
not
is
let's not go. Let's
this?
not
What
go.
is the evolution is mapped by
I mean,
ceramics.
evolution of human settlements,
Yes.
right, have been mapped through ceramics,
Yeah.
through clay pots which are excavated, how
Yeah.
they've been made.
Yeah.
So there is that history that's there behind ceramics. But me, as a ceramic artist and as a person that knows what has gone into making that pot at a time when people were still figuring, there was no technology then, right? We have a pyrometer just says we are going to 1200 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
We have cones inside that say we're reaching temperature.
Yeah.
They didn't have all of that. They didn't have anything.
Yeah.
They had smell. They had eyesight. They had the
Oh, yeah.
color of the flame that's coming inside to tell them what is the temperature.
Yeah,
That
that's
is skill.
That is
I know.
Master
And then
level.
and to consider that as just craft. How
Sad.
is that exactly?
Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad.
How do you take this forward?
Making more pieces and trying to get people aware of what I'm doing, and hopefully opening up their vision to ceramic art.
Like the way you explained ceramic to me, you made me fall. Like I feel like I've read it in books, and I
Yeah.
have that feeling you articulated pretty well. There is a huge hobby. I'm going to use the word stigma
Yeah.
because it's accessible,
Yeah.
and you also offer the service
Yeah.
to the people, which kind of like triggers itself into
Exactly.
becoming a hobby.
Yeah.
And so everyone does that, and everybody's making alphabets of their names outside their house. There's a full service industry that's
Yeah.
catering to this,
Yeah.
like Ruby was doing with
Yeah.
Adipa and all of that. So there is maybe it's become so accessible and normal that ceramics has approached everyone's life now.
And also because of that, people are considering more and more as an art form. Like they are opening up to
Yeah.
the skills that's involved in it, and
Yeah.
therefore it's just not a craft. They are understanding what it contains.
It's definitely not a
and,
craft.
Yeah.
And which is why Veena Chandran is part of this exhibition. It's called Follow the White Rabbit at the Frida Art House in the Ritz-Carlton, Pune. If you choose to accept, look in that camera and say like, comment and subscribe to Art History Plus.
Oh no. Okay.
Give me some subscribers.
Okay. What do I have to
is
say?
tough.
Wait.
YouTube is as tough as firing a pot. Say like, comment and subscribe and say whatever you want.
Like, comment, and subscribe to Art History Plus. And thank you, Weber, for having me and for having this discussion and maybe breaking stigmas. And come by the studio. Let's break some pots.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.